Please listen carefully.
Hey guys, it's great to be here. I have to tell you, I've been sitting in the audience listening to some of these presentations, and I just see how they all dovetail together. I was listening to Tim and talk about social, responsible economic development and all of that work. So what I'm going to share with you, as you heard them say, I'm relatively new in a relatively new program that's regionally based. And I'm excited about it. We're going to grow it. And if there's something I can share with you now and or after to help you in your communities, I'm more than happy to do that. So what is RAMP? I'm talking about business growth for a minute. We're an accelerator program. And sometimes people get confused about what is an accelerator versus an incubator versus business assistance. We heard a lot about the 60s a minute ago and a lot of changes in the 60s. Well, the Small Business Administration came online in the 60s, and we had what we call business assistance. So if you were a small business, and that might be me, if you were a small business, you could get some assistance in your business. And that continues today in a very important way. Then later in the 80s, we looked at an incubator, and we actually looked at providing space and some resources to work with companies. Let's bring them together, let's give them a space, and let's show them where the resources are, and maybe we can help them grow their business. Because as you know, even better than I know, although I owned a small company for 27 years, employed a lot of people in the Blacksburg area in technology, homegrown businesses are where we need to be. Homegrown communities. And so I'm really a big proponent of that and a lot of understanding of that. So if we look at what happened with the incubator, it was an important step, and they continue today. We need incubators. The accelerator is slightly different. The accelerator brings a group of companies together, asks them to work together in a cohort, and it really prescribes some treatment over a defined period of time. Now for us, accelerators run all over this country in a lot of different ways. For us, our defined period of time was somewhat undefined. So as our first came out of the gate, they moved in June. We're going to allow them to stay till the end of the year, and maybe even longer until the next cohort moves in. I welcome you to Roanoke. It's a fabulous community with a lot of great changes underway. If you get downtown in Roanoke, there is a building that's painted bright green on the corner of Elm Avenue and Jefferson. That is the home of RAMP. Today they're putting on the side of the building a mural. You might see that. We'll talk a little bit about the cooperation of how all that comes together. But we are located downtown. We have focused on development, confined period of time, treatment, and working together in a cohort. There are over 80 accelerators across the nation right now. A lot of people say that the accelerator phenomena has been key to the rate of business startup success in their locations. Now, there are other accelerators where people move to. You might go to Austin, Texas, and work for a few months and come back to your region. We're very focused on regional development, and as we grow this accelerator, having community engagement across our region come into the accelerator, stay here. I don't know, we may actually find a company that belongs somewhere else. There are accelerators that focus around a topic. We do not focus around a topic yet. In fact, I have 6 companies, and they vary greatly in their topics. Right now, that's kind of where we need to be, where we want to be, in regard to making sure as we come out of the gate that we're not overlooking something. We're going to be refining things as we go along. But a lot of people can attribute an accelerator to greater success of startups. Now, I want to talk a tiny bit about our region. In 2016, we lost 500 companies. 500 big, small, little companies moved out of the region or closed. We started 400 companies. You don't have to be a math wizard to know that that's not really where we want to be. So we look at what the state, how we look across our region at the state. This region lags behind startups, both at the state and national level. We also lag behind what they call startup density, how many startups per thousands of people. We lag behind the state and the nation in some of that. So, and investment capital in our region is a little harder to come by than perhaps other regions of the country. We knew all of that and going in. So you can see the energy behind why we need to do what we're doing right now. Now, I am always surprised by this. We're going to talk about the success of a startup, but isn't it true that if you bring an expert to work with you to get something done, and you're coachable, you might actually be more successful in accomplishing that? And yet we look at startups and we look at accelerators and we're kind of surprised at the success. We're surprised that that maybe we shouldn't be surprised by that. If you want to learn to swim, experiencing the water, having a coach, getting in the water might actually help you become a better swimmer. That doesn't surprise anybody. And so here we are in our region at this point in time, and we're still trying to get it kind of right in regard to putting the resources in a very concentrated fashion on a hand-picked group of companies, hoping that they will accelerate their businesses, stay in the region, and employ more people. We bring to the table mentors, resources, and focus. Now, the mentors are from the community. We have some incredibly wonderful, successful mentors across this community. And they just raised their hand and said, I was willing to help. I'll tell you really quickly, we did a kind of crazy mentor madness. The minute I got this job, which was May 1st, the cohort started on June 1st, I called a lot of my friends in the country and said, I need to talk to you. I actually got in a car and drove down to Raleigh-Durham for a day and spent some time with any of you from that area down there. Jan Davis is just probably worth your weight in gold. But one of the things she said to me was, well, you have to have a mentor madness. And I thought, okay, how does that work? So companies have to have a mentor. We have mentors. You bring the companies together, you bring the mentors together, you give everybody a chance to have 10 minutes, and then they put down who they would like to work with. The mentor says, I'd like that company. The company says, I'd like that mentor. They do it all in a vote, and then everybody goes home. And so we did it in a very closed setting. We had 6 companies, 6 mentors. I'll tell you right now, sorry, I'm getting over a cold. 3 of the companies had a 1-to-1 match with 3 of the mentors. The mentor chose the company, and the company chose the mentor. The other 3 companies chose a 1-2 or a 1-2 match. So there was a 1-2 match across it. If you go to Ramp today and talk to my companies, each company believes they got the best mentor. And the truth is, they did. They got the very best mentor that could help them with what they needed at the time to grow. So our mentors were critical, as were our courses, and I'll talk about that in a second. So it's important to measure what happens in an accelerator program. It's important in the region. It's important to measure all the things that you guys are doing. What's the impact of what we're doing? Most accelerators in the country, I'll tell you, measure investment dollars. How many dollars did these companies raise? From the get-go, RAMP was designed not to measure investment dollars. We were set up to measure job starts. How many more jobs were brought into these companies at some period in time? I would caution everybody always to think about a realistic expectation in a realistic time frame. What time frame is realistic to expect these companies to run out and hire a dozen people? So you have to right up front set the guidelines of what's realistic. Thankfully, people even before I came on board talked about a 5-year goal of where we'll be in 5 years with these companies. A lot of accelerators also look at their 5-year life of a company. Companies they bring in, who's still in business in 5 years, and where have they grown, with what kind of investment dollars. So those are all things. There's a lot of data out there that you can look at, and data is critically important. But if you're thinking about starting an accelerator, make sure that you lay down how you're going to be measured for the investment. This is the title of what I was going to show you, and I'm going to step aside so we can talk about the graph in a minute. Because so many accelerators measure dollars, I thought I would just show you a graph that a lot of people talk about. Here's a graph that a lot of people talk about. The blue bars show you by year how many companies were not accelerated. New company starts not accelerated. The green companies were companies that were accelerated. A couple things you can see really quickly is that the amount of companies that are accelerated across this country is growing. So we're starting more programs and we're accelerating companies over to 2015. The red line shows you what percentage of investments went to accelerated companies. So it's kind of what says to you, if you're a VC, if you want to make an investment, your chances are better with a company that has been through a program, mentored intensely, and they were coachable, and so we feel like it clearly says a venture capitalist or an investment dollars, they think that your money is better on a company that's been accelerated. Your chances are better. They've just had a very close, refined relationship in where they are. It's an important graph. It's out there. You'll probably see it if you look. But it's not the whole story. It's just a story. I have to stop for a second and talk about Water the Bamboo. Everybody that's talked today has talked about time. I don't know if any of you have read Water the Bamboo. It's a fabulous book. Let me recommend it to you. Okay, let me just tell you that if you read the book, giant bamboo, and my family is in horticulture. My family, not me, but I was in technology, but the rest of my family was all in horticulture. And I'll tell you that I know a lot about growing plants and selling plants and the value of plants. But bamboo, giant bamboo, is really interesting. You plant the rhizomes, and they don't even peek out of the ground for 3 years. But they have to be watered every day. But when they peek out of the ground, they don't stop. 90 feet in 60 days. I love this book. I've loved this book for years. My people that I work with in the cohort and the people I answer to don't know this. I think I'm watering bamboo. I water the bamboo. They think I come to work. They think I get the mentors. They think I get the lunch and learns. They think I do these things. I'm watering the bamboo. I water the bamboo. We're starting. And when it grows, it grows. My region, and you heard that I was a founding member 20-some years ago of the Technology Council across our region. But in 2010 and 2012, our regional leadership came together. We hired outside help. We work across the region, go to Blacksburg, go towards Lynchburg, and go around this large area. We brought in some outside paid support, and they helped us evaluate, identify, write, vet what we called the innovation blueprint. Now, the innovation blueprint said if you want to be an innovative community and you want to grow and you want to do these things, these are some things that you have to have. In that blueprint that long ago, back in 2012, it was identified that we needed an accelerator. But we also needed a lot of other things. The accelerator was just something we needed. So here we are, 2017, not that long ago, right? 5 years ago, that we finally have the cohort and a graduation of 6 companies. So we water the bamboo. Some takes longer than others. I heard every speaker today said it takes time. So here we are with where we are, but I just wanted to share with you, it didn't happen overnight. And in that period, a lot of really dedicated community regional leaders have worked to make this happen. So it's taken a long time, but we're not going to let it go. What do we need? We needed space, we needed a program, we needed financial support, we needed the mentors, we needed all these things. And people across the region stepped up to make it happen. The space the building is actually owned by the city of Roanoke. It's managed by Virginia Western Community College through their foundation. There was a grant we got from the state of Virginia to help renovate a building. The educational part was delivered by the community college, and the technology council hired the director, which was me, to come in and manage the day-to-day planning and operation of what happened. So it was a community effort across the region that has gotten us this far, and I'm sure that it's going to continue. We started with 18 companies. 18 companies asked to be in the first cohort. I think we interviewed 12 of them. We took 6 of them. It just kind of, I don't know whether that's a great reality, but that's where we are. I hope that we'll have at least 18, if not more, companies apply for our next cohort. We did do the mentor match, which turned out to be fabulous. We used the Lean Startup course, which was delivered by our community college system, and multiple points for coaching. We had multiple touch places for our coaching to come in, and then the region has brought in, we've had lawyers and bankers and a lot of other people come in and present seminars to this group. And we've had tremendous support across the region for all of that. Where are we today? We had our demo day on September the 11th, and quite honestly, not unlike today, things went extremely well, and we were just really proud of pulling that off. They'll remain in residence through this year. We are getting ready to launch a $1.5 million campaign to fund RAMP for the next 5 years. We're hoping that we only need to raise part of that money and get matching funds from the state of Virginia. We hope to open our applications, if not before, we're going to open them in January. So what are we going to do next? We're going to refine what we taught. Obviously, you learn. Everything you do, you learn. So we're going to refine the offering a little bit, tighten it up a little bit more. We're going to work across the region. We're working really hard right now to find more accelerator-ready companies. We're going to open for applications and bring in our next cohort. These are the 3 partners that have worked really hand in hand to make things happen. I know you have great partnership in your area as well. I'm going to kind of end with this. As I was working on this presentation, you may also read Seth Godin every day. I have a cup of coffee and read Seth Godin at 6 o'clock every morning. And on October the 2nd, he posted this. He always kind of speaks to me. It's a blog that's worth it. It's just worth it. Start my day. So on October the 2nd, which was just this week, the name of his blog was "You're Doing It Wrong." And I couldn't wait to read it. But he said, at least you're doing it. Once you're doing it, you have a chance to do it better. Waiting for perfect means not starting. And so that's kind of where we are. The accelerator by any means is not a perfect accelerator, but we have 6 companies that I can tell you in all honesty, I wouldn't bet against any of them. They're all really doing extremely well, and I think they're going to make a difference in the region. So I say to you, I'm reachable. I would be happy. I have been blessed across this nation, whether it's Colorado or Texas or Raleigh-Durham or Philadelphia. Every accelerator program I've reached out to has been extremely helpful. I'm not the expert, I'm the learning person, but I would love to be helpful with you as well and put you in touch if you're on the verge or have or thinking about it. It's a great collaborative effort. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope to hear from you.